The agents are contacted by a man claiming his wife was killed by doctors. Scully is then approached by a pregnant woman who, too, is afraid of her doctors and what she is carrying inside of her.
Doggett summons the help of an old friend, but is he on their side?
This is not happening.
Welcome back, everybody, to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast with me, Andrew, and as always, joined by my good friend, Mike. Mike, how are you today?
Doing all right. A nice little back to action. We had a little bit of an unexpected hiatus last week.
It's true, yes. My life got a little busy, but now I've squirreled away a little bit of free time so that we can get back into an exciting recording for this evening per Manum. Who isn't excited about a little pregnancy paranoia show?
Right. Always good stuff, I'm sure, for any woman to be terrified of what's inside of her.
I gotta say, we are probably the worst people to comment on this episode.
The worst? I don't know about that.
Well, we're not
qualified.
Pregnant women. And I have never even sired children, so I don't know if you have.
Either. No.
So, I mean, we know nothing about the business of being parents. Honestly, I think we should just be on our armchairs, giving out opinions and advice on how this episode is authentic or not.
Well, to be fair, I don't know that I'm going to be doing much commentating on if this pregnancy seems realistic to me or not. I'll be commenting on the episode and the way it's written, as I assume you will be.
Well, I will be, but I mean, I'm not going to hold myself back or anything.
Okay.
If I see, something that is what I consider to be inappropriate or incorrect regarding pregnancy, I'll let my complete authoritative voice go and see what happens.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, so this one, episode 8 of season 8, written by Chris Carter and Frank Spotnitz, the Dream Team, the original OGs, and directed by Kim Manners. This is, theoretically, as good as it gets. So, when you saw this in February 2001, what were your opinions? Did you think, oh, well, here we are?
I'm not sure I saw this one on opening day, if you will.
Oh,
broadcast day. But, yeah. I mean, it is an episode that touts Agent Mulder in one way or another, and always exciting to see that.
Well, this was still in February sweeps in 2001, so the big deal at the time was they had 4 episodes that they had David Duchovny, and they used him in 2 so far. And to, I would say, lesser effect, sort of flashbacky stuff. And it's going to happen again here per Manum. He has not yet returned from his alien abduction adventure. So these are all flashback sequences. That fill in the nuances, the blank spots of the lore with what was. I'm not sure I'm a big fan. It's a little better handled in this episode, I'd say, but generally they are really teasing it out before they bring him back into the show proper.
Right, yeah. I mean, they want to make sure you sufficiently miss him before they can do anything new with him. So, But to be fair, I think they're laying the groundwork for what will become the baby mythology episodes and the super soldier mythology. So, yeah, I'll give it to them.
This is certainly the mythology arc of mythology arcs. The godchild to come, the pregnancy of Scully. This is very important in terms of the overall mythology of the show, and no less than Chris Carter and Frank Spotnitz will write it. No one else will come close.
There you go, Andrew.
Yeah, and notably, we have a new character in the show now.
We do.
That's kind of exciting. Do you have anything to say about Adam Baldwin at this point?
I like to see him. He shows up. He's everywhere. You see him in plenty of shows, plenty of TV shows, plenty of movies. He'll poke his head out. I never dislike it when he's there. So I will say he does a good job here, and we will see him in future X-Files episodes, which is good.
Yeah, I don't know whether Firefly has come and gone at this point, or whether I
think it's right on the cusp of starting, if I'm not mistaken.
But
we're in
2000 seasons, so
yeah,
he was looking for work, definitely. All right, well, I think it's time for us to get rolling on per Manum, which of course means by hand.
2000.
Are you ready to insert your hand into the canal of this episode? I broke you. That was great.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, well, we're fully dilated here. We're fading in on a pregnancy in progress. Camera tracking back from a sweaty face of a woman in labor, the beeping of a hospital monitor in the background. She has a contraction in pain, but her husband's there, doing the real work of helping her through this. This is the Haskell family, Duffy and Kathy, although technically they're not married. We'll find that out later. A nurse comes in, checking on Kath's dilation. The monitor begins to spike ominously. The next thing you know, the doctor is coming in, announcing that it's time for an emergency C-section. The baby is in distress. You just lie back now. We know what to do. 2000s patriarchy in full swing. Look at that. Isn't that delightful?
It's amazing.
The doctor tells Duffy he's going to have to scrub up if he wants to stay in here, so he goes off to change. The rest of the medical team arrives, filing in, and in a particularly dark moment, the last nurse locks the deadbolt of the door behind her. Kathy, not Mrs. Haskell, I'm editing myself as I go here, she's given a shot as the doctor starts to cut into her belly. I'm sure that is no fun. She's desperate to see, despite them telling her just lie back. She manages to see them pull the baby out from her, and watches in horror as the creature they've taken out of her mules like a cross between a cat and a human. As she cries out for her husband, she falls unconscious. Enough drugs finally have been pumped into her. The scene ends with a close-up of the alien gray baby they have extracted from her belly. We come back on an ultrasound picture as Scully reviews it in her home, checking herself in the mirror to see if she's developing a baby bulge. In the background, we hear Mark Snow's heroic theme for Scully's pregnancy arc. Her face betrays a range of emotions. This is really happening. She arrives at the X-Files office, Doggett in the middle of a meeting with Duffy Haskell. 8 years ago, Duffy contacted the office about his wife, who he reported as an alien abductee. Duffy goes on, incensed his wife is dead, and they killed her.
They killed her. Kath, my wife.
I checked the files. Mr. Haskell wrote several letters, staged and molded, describing his wife's abduction experiences.
My wife gave birth to an alien.
I thought you said that your wife was murdered.
That's the reason they did it.
Okay, Mr. Haskell, why don't you start from the beginning?
Kath was a multiple abductee. The aliens did these procedures on her, tests and whatnot. One procedure would give her cancer, while another one would cure her. Stuff like that for years, you see. And then this year, they came right into our bedroom and implanted an alien embryo in Kath.
I don't suppose that you have any medical proof of this.
I have an ultrasound here. Anyone with a trained eye can see that is a bizarre pregnancy, especially for a woman who was never supposed to be able to conceive. I doubt you'd ever get the doctors to cop to any of that.
What doctors?
We've been through 3 sets. They're all in on it. They're all in cahoots.
So you're saying that it was the doctors that killed your wife?
And stole the alien baby. That ultrasound is proof.
Scully delicately shows Duffy out, and she's not impressed with Doggett for having sprung Duffy on her. She thinks the story's outrageous. Doggett has connected some dots, noting the similarities between Kathy's situation and Scully's. The abduction, the tests, bout with cancer, then remission. But it's not enough to mollify Scully. She basically tells him to butt out of her personal life and walks out. All right, so that is our setup.
Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's fair?
Listen, this is personal to her. I think it's fine. I think that she isn't. It's a little bit offside given their connection. You know, we've seen them grow closer as partners, and I think that she is creating a wall where one doesn't justifiably need to be there. But that's the way she's written, so that's what happened, Mike.
I know. I think it's too late in the season for her to act like this to him. I'm not saying she can't still be secretive for whatever reason, but feels a little mean. Like, she is in the files, and whether or not she overlooked that fact, it's not his fault. I think it's a conclusion that he drew from reviewing all the case files in the cabinets the first week. And he's not wrong for doing so, but she took it like offensively. And I'm like, calm down.
Yeah, that'll work when you tell somebody to calm down, by the way.
Just calm down, relax. Pregnant woman.
God.
This is how you deal. I mean, that's why we're here, Andrew. We talked about it earlier.
This is our trained opinion here.
You absolutely will get positive results.
Skipping to the end and using the information we do not have yet, I will say that she is, I think she's reacting this way. The stated reason at the end that she has not told him about her pregnancy is that if she thinks if somebody knows, if it becomes public, the powers that be will remove her from the X-Files and remove her opportunity to find Mulder. Or at least she thinks that having access to this or removing her from her active capacity will prevent her from finding Mulder and remove her tools to do so. To be fair, I don't think that there are any tools available anywhere in the FBI which are going to help her locate Mulder, but she doesn't know that. So I get that with that in mind, and maybe this scene would have made more sense if we knew that going into it, or we had more of an inkling, but we don't. But knowing that, I can buy that she is pretty hard to shut the door on him because she thinks if people know about my pregnancy, then I'm done here.
Right. Fair enough.
Okay.
I would have trusted Doggett by now. It's week 13. Trust him with my life.
He is not as attractive as he is to you. Scully has eyes for Mulder, so just back up.
I'm not saying she has to be in love with him. I'm saying, come on now. Second week, he carried you out of a cult town.
That is his job, sir.
Came to rescue you in Utah. Who wants to go to fucking Utah?
Sure. We're going to offend everybody tonight. In a daze, Scully walks to the elevator where we have our first shift in time. This is a nice little visual conceit that they have set up, and it's very subtle and I would argue very effective. Thank you, Kim Manners, for your service. I love this kind of stuff. So they linger on a piece of furniture or door or hallway or something, and then when they shift back, we're in different characters, different times. So clearly there is a little quick change off camera, and they just continue the scene. It's good stuff. It's simple. I like it. So we have a flashback where we get to relive the glory days where Scully and Mulder would actually have scenes together. Do you remember that? You know, remember those old days?
Good times. I mean, this would technically be... I'm trying to place when this falls in the time period. I would think that this is supposed to be season 5 or 6.
I would say so. Certainly post-cancer.
Definitely.
Not too far away. Well, we have a relatively normal scene between them. Scully apologizes for not having told Mulder, but she's just learned that she has been left unable to conceive because of the tests that have been performed on her. Mulder takes the opportunity to come clean as well. After her illness, he found out why she wasn't able to conceive and has kept it from her. Turns out her ova have been harvested and stored in a government facility. He's had them transferred to a specialist who had some further bad news. Her ova are not viable. It's a lot for Scully to take in, and it shows on her face, but she is not done fighting. She's going to go get a second opinion. The doors close on the elevator, and the camera holds on it for a moment. When they open up again, we see Doggett, who tells us we're back in the present day. I can say that slightly differently by saying... The doors close on the elevator, and the camera holds on it for a moment. When they open up again, we see Doggett, which tells us we're back in the present day. Scully, lost in thought, never got off the elevator. And Doggett asks what to do about the Haskell case. Scully shuts him down. There's nothing to do. We cut to a very white office, what looks to be a high-end medical clinic, and it is, in fact, Zeus Genetics. There's no one on the front desk, so Scully takes the opportunity to trespass, walking through the recesses of the offices, hearing the sound of raised voices. She eventually lights upon a door where a heated conversation is underway, a woman voicing her concerns about her pregnancy. She wants to leave, but the staff is keeping her calm. As the doctor leaves, Scully bolts, charging through the nearest door and into the world's worst trophy room, a wall full of dead fetuses displayed in glass cubes backlit by yellow light. This is not something you brag about. As Scully examines the hoarders...
Do you think... I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt your story. But does this not strike you as the governor in season 3 of The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Did they not take influence from this?
They completely stole it. Well, let me just get through the end of this scene, and then I have specifically allotted time for you to give me some commentary on this room.
Okay.
But
sorry about that.
So Scully examines the horrors, and she's discovered by a doctor. This is Dr. Lev. Scully, cool as a cucumber, lies through her teeth and says she's with her friend, who Dr. Lev confirms as Mrs. Hendershot. She's fine, says the doctor. You'll have to wait out front. All right. Lay it on me. What do you think of this horrible room?
It's not bad in terms of writing. Like, it's creepy for sure. And it definitely would make me question who I'm working with or dealing with if I walked into that room. I don't care if he's a doctor. It's very disturbing. Very disturbing.
I question the usefulness of this room, period. Like,
right. Yeah.
I accept if they're scientists and they need, to keep the specimens for research,
Tissue
that's
or
fine.
something.
But you don't do that here. You keep it in your warehouse or something, your secret lab.
And aren't these failures?
I don't understand if this is meant to inspire or something.
It's not. Oh, I went wrong with so many babies.
You should look at number 38. I mean, we were so close, but no. And the lighting, like, honestly, this is just, nobody told these guys how bad an idea this room was.
The fact that it's such stark contrast to the rest of this sanitized environment, right? So the hallways, everything else is pure white. Very nice, very polished.
Yeah.
And then she goes into this room and it's this orangey magic hour yellow glow coming from behind the baby tubes or whatever. It's just disturbing.
It is
definitely a change of pace.
I love that Dr. Lev completely, just ignores it. It doesn't. What are you doing here? Who are you? You shouldn't be here.
It's not weird that you're seeing this.
No, this is all fine. Don't you worry about this. Is all.
This. You've got a question about this. Oh, don't worry about it. People don't even ask.
This is our Halloween room. I know it's a little inappropriate, but
it's Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, and October 31st, this room is very popular. Okie doke. Well, the episode shift gears, bringing us back to Scully's apartment, where she reels from what she's discovered. She goes through her contacts on her super bulky, but cool for the time laptop computer, finding the number for her doctor, Dr. Parenti. I'm just realizing that is such a bad name for a character. Parenti, like a parent. You could have thought for, and this show has such a passion for out there names. This is like,
well, coming off of Hang-A-Mule from The Gift.
Where did they miss out on this one? I'm Dr. Childmaker. That's my name.
Dr. Child McCour.
Yeah, it's pronounced Child McCour. Well, anyway, okay. That's not the worst of this episode's sins. What are we doing here? Looking for his contacts. Yeah, found it. Dr. Print.
She makes a phone call.
Yeah, make the phone call. She calls, looking at her ultrasound and comparing it to the one from Zeus Genetics. They look pretty close. They're pretty identical. Parenti comes on the line. She's afraid and wants him to look at the ultrasounds. She agrees to send the ultrasounds over to his office to look at, and when he hangs up, we see that he's in fact in the horror room of Zeus Genetics on a little business of his own. He peels back the gauze on an alien baby, and the music tells us he's a son of a bitch, and we fade to commercial.
Oh, man.
So we cast our characters pretty black and white.
He unravels that like I unravel my Kleenex after a really bad sneeze. Just
did that really happen, you think? I got to check to make sure I'm
the
brain
about
cells.
the same image, too.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
What happened there? Well, coming back, Scully is waiting in Parenti's office, but soon enough, we see that this, too, is a scene from her past. As a younger, thinner Dr. Parenti tells Scully that the results from his analysis of her ova are in. He's optimistic there's an opportunity for her to get pregnant. And she's overwhelmed. Parenti suggests they could get started right away, but of course, she'll need a father. Scully, as well as millions of people across the world watching, figure out that the father candidate is obviously Mulder. She confirms this by saying she just needs to figure out how to ask him. And with a smooth camera turn, we switch gears to the present. Dr. Parenti is ready to see her to go over the ultrasounds. And we see him do that. They look fine to him. And we have a bit of reassuring back and forth, but the scene ends with him suggesting the next step will be telling the FBI. She will soon be showing.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Clearly, they're setting this up, that there's this whole monolithic machine of doctors working against Scully, Mrs. Holbershot, whatever her name is, Haskell's wife, not wife. What do you think of the setup of this so far? There's something nagging from the edges of this episode.
Okay.
But I'm curious what you think.
My biggest concern right now is, well, number one, I'm not concerned necessarily about the doctor shenanigans. That obviously is something that's been part of the series since season 1. That's fine. I'm on board with them up to some sort of new nefarious thing where we actually have alien babies being born. That's a new element as per the mythology. So one of my biggest complaints is she seemed surprised when Mulder told her that her ova were no good. And I'm like, you guys have been investigating this stuff for 5 or 6 years at this point, and every other woman you've been in contact with who's been abducted has this happen. It feels like she should have known that. But so far, aside from maybe that tidbit where I feel like she should have known the outcome of her abduction a little bit better, this is okay for me right now. I'm not questioning a whole lot yet.
I guess if I have a bone to pick, it would be they didn't need to write it so that he gives her the double shot. You know, he could just say, listen, I didn't tell you before because, you know, we're just catching up, and listen, I found your eggs. You know, I've waiting for the right time to tell you, basically, and they're at a facility. You should really get them checked out to see. As opposed to they decide to write it that not only does he sort of drop the hammer on her that I found all your eggs, that's why you can't conceive or whatever. And by the way, the doctor told me they're no good. You know, they decide to do that.
By the way, they may as well be caviar.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw them out if you want, but
I just had them toss them.
But then you could have just said that, and then, you know, from what I've read on the file, Scully, you know, they're likely not going to be viable, and then you can just have her go for the first time to get the opinion, and that's where the show takes off. As opposed to he's already done all this stuff, and it's like that just feels like you're taking away your agency for no great reason there.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I'll give it that. It's strange. Little different choices maybe should have been made there, but
yeah,
overall not offensive territory in terms of the episode writing. So I'm good right now. I'm on board.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move right along here. So Scully returns to the office, and she runs into Agent Doggett.
Agent Scully, I just got a call from a Dr. Parenti's office about an ultrasound you left there this morning.
Dr. Parenti is my doctor.
Come on, Agent Scully.
You don't believe me?
That ultrasound is the one Duffy Haskell left here yesterday. Dr. Parenti is one of the doctors he consulted with during the course of that pregnancy.
Excuse me, Agent Doggett, but are you investigating me?
No, I was doing a background check on Mr. and Mrs. Haskell before I dropped the case like you asked me to do.
No, I didn't ask you to drop the case. I said there was nothing to do.
Well, if there's nothing to do, then why are you investigating it?
You are jumping to conclusions.
No, I'm just trying to do my job, only it gets hard to do if the person you're working with is keeping secrets and telling lies.
I am not investigating these people, Agent Doggett. Parenti is my doctor. Is that so strange? Is there something about him I don't know?
No. But Duffy Haskell's a piece of work, I'll tell you that much.
When we cut back to Duffy Haskell in Skinner's office, there are agents in attendance. Skinner reveals that Duffy has sent several threatening letters to Mulder, Dr. Lev. He's made a habit of it. Duffy's convinced Dr. Lev killed his wife. Doggett goes on to note that there's not even any evidence that he and Kath were even married. We have some serious looking at each other, and ultimately Skinner warns Duffy about making further threats. Duffy appeals to Scully. You believe me, don't you? But he gets nothing. So he leaves. And as he's leaving in the elevator, he calls Dr. Lev, and the episode kicks it up a notch. Duffy is in league with Dr. Lev, revealing the details of his meeting with the FBI. And with the pressure on from the FBI, they decide they need to advance things with Mrs. Hendershot, which doesn't sound good at all. The scene ends with a close-up of Dr. Lev, the alien baby, reflected in his glasses. Oh, they're all sons of bitches.
Oh, my God. Can't trust a one of them.
Well, maybe.
I do want to take this moment, by the way.
Okay.
Duffy Haskell.
Yeah.
Where have you seen him?
Is he Seinfeld? No. Has he had a role on Seinfeld? No.
Has he had a role?
That's usually
Why
your
do you
go-to when they're
ask?
not on the X-Files.
Oh, so you're taking a shot.
A little
Okay,
bit,
I
a
see,
little bit,
sir. God, no, he's from season 4 Demons. He's the detective.
Oh, you're right. You're right. He has a very
He's
small
the
role in that.
detective. Yeah, decent role, but he will be in this episode and Essence coming up.
True enough. Well, look at that. We're getting a lot of return actors now. I guess they're running through them all in L.A. next.
Yep.
All right. Well, Scully returns to her apartment, and we do another passage of time, a simple camera move as Mulder arrives in the past. He's had time to think about her request. He's flattered. She gives him some space to say no. He wouldn't want this to come between them, but the answer is yes, which brings her to tears and a fresh rendition of her theme song. She's super happy. She hugs him, which probably also brought millions of viewers to tears as well in 2001. He leaves, and again, we switch timelines back to Scully reminiscing, rubbing her baby belly. There's another knock at the door. It's a pregnant Mary Hendershot, who tells Scully that her baby is in danger, and so is Scully. So, throw to commercial.
Oh boy, Andrew, it's starting to ramp up. We now have 2 pregnant women on screen.
It's a regular Thelma Louise situation.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I question how Mrs. Hendershot came to be at Scully's place.
She was probably given the location by Duffy.
Yes.
'Cause
We haven't had a connection between those two characters. You know, they haven't
Nope.
actually been on scene together.
I honestly don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, they do hint at it later it'll come up. I don't really dive into it, but they get to the research hospital and the doctor there says, hey, how did she actually find you? And Scully says, she was directed by this guy Haskell. And so I guess the episode tries to explain
Duffy.
it, but
Scully has a standing ad that says, if you think you've had a baby alien implanted into you, then find me. Here's my address. I'll look into it.
no weirdos ever come to her door. It's
Not at all.
Kinder, gentler time.
She only advertises in the National Enquirer, so you only get quality people.
That's right. They can't afford the bus fare to her place.
It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
All right, after the commercial, we cut to a wet street scene at night, a pickup truck being driven by John Doggett, pulling up to an all-night diner where Skinner and Scully are already sitting. We have a long, drawn-out scene where Skinner lets Doggett know that Scully is taking a leave of absence, but doesn't say why. When it becomes clear that Doggett is not in the circle of trust, he heads out with a, drop me a line sometime. Skinner suggests to Scully that she should tell him, but she won't. Instead, she makes it worse. She goes out and tries to mend fences with Doggett, but of course she doesn't budge from her position, so it does not really help. Eventually, everybody leaves, getting into her car with Mary Hendershot. So the big takeaway from here is that Doggett is a pickup truck driver.
Right?
Discuss.
It was noticeable to me, too. I'm like, are they making him like the all-American rugged guy or what? I think this is... And I have not scoured the last 2 seasons of the show to be sure, but this may be the only time we see him in a pickup truck.
100%. I mean, they're suggesting his personal vehicle is a pickup, but I think, does he live on a ranch? Like, is he a part-time rancher? Is that what they're getting at?
He comes out wearing spurs and cowboy boots. I mean, it's late at night, but you can't not look good.
It's got a little place out in West Virginia, a little plot of land. Okay, we cut to the Walden Freeman Army Research Hospital, 5:01 a.m., where Scully and Mrs. Hendershot arrive to a team of doctors led by Dr. Miriam. Apparently, Scully's got some good connections. Scully gives the doctors a summary of events, and here's my next clip.
You told me.
Miss Hendershot believes that she is carrying a baby that is not her own. That, by whatever means, at 40 weeks, she is about to give birth to something inhuman.
Does she have medical records?
I can't trust my doctors.
She believes, and with possible good reason, that her life may be in danger. That women just like her have been murdered in childbirth.
Why? Because it sounds insane.
These doctors killed a friend of mine because she was onto them. Because she saw too much.
You should know that I'm not just here as an FBI agent.
Agent Scully is an MD.
So, what is it she's carrying?
That's why we've come to you.
All right, let's get Miss Hendershot prepped and ready.
For what?
You're going to have this baby, Miss Hendershot. Our big concern right now is you have it safely. Whatever it is, and you will know in a few hours from now if we induce labor immediately.
And we cut to Doggett examining an ultrasound when he's visited by another man, Agent Farah, who Doggett asked to run a background check on Duffy Haskell. Turns out, according to his prints, Duffy Haskell has been dead since 1970. The two agents label him as a spook, and Doggett heads out. So, Duffy, son of a bitch number 1, and a dead guy.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I know I'm making a big deal out of nothing.
Well, listen, normally it's me, so I'm touched that it's you this time.
I have a weird issue with Scully thinking this lady, this pregnant woman, came to me for help. I, too, am pregnant and have fears that a government conspiracy is still at play and that an alien baby might be inside my body as well as hers. Let me go take her to a military hospital where I know for a fact that the military has been involved for the last 7 years in this whole mythology thing. Why would this be the safe place for them to go?
It's a curious choice.
That's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I hear where you're coming from.
Not saying it's not like an expertise level. That's probably why they're going to it. But
my counter would be her connections. Like, clearly she's the one who made the call to go here. So
right.
You either go to the most countryest of bumpkin doctors and say, we're so far off the grid, nobody will ever know we're here. And we're going to have a nice home midwife delivery. And if there are complications, so be it. But this is the safest we get. Or you go to the Fort Knox of military, assuming you can trust people there and thinking, they got my back and there are armed guards at the door. We're going to be fine. Unfortunately, this episode has written it such that there are no safe places. Like, everybody is in on the plot.
Right.
So no matter what she does, she's fucked.
Right.
It would seem.
Very much so.
I mean, maybe you can't what if this episode is the problem. Like, it is something I was going to say for final thoughts, but the plot starts to lose me a bit in the why. Like, why they have this elaborate method to ensnare Scully and Hendershot in this medical delivery. Like, why involve the FBI at all?
Yeah.
Like, if the objective is to get Hendershot's kid, they seem to have figured it out.
That is the goal.
Yeah. So they figured it out with Duffy's, girdle Kath. in that, during delivery, you just lock the husband out and do a little switcheroo when they're in drugs, and boom, you're golden. You got your alien baby, and they have a fake baby, or the baby died in childbirth, or whatever. But they've got a plan. So the conceit of sending Duffy with a complaint to the FBI, they killed my wife, and it doesn't actually help them more than brings down some scrutiny on their operation for what I would say is no great reason.
Right. Well, I mean, it is the same government who's thinking of elaborate ways to get A.D. Skinner fired. They're going to blow up a warehouse in the middle of nowhere town in Red Museum and not draw attention to themselves. It's still on point with that.
This is Chris Carter's government, which is ineffectual, bumbling, and extensive.
Yes, I think in his world, in the mind of the X-Files, everything is connected and the government is everywhere. So just make it everywhere. Yeah. So there's no escape.
Yeah. Well, it all has to tie back to Scully and her baby, of course. So that's why it happens. It's not for any structural reason. It's for a plot reason. But I mean, if you even think about it for a minute, it doesn't make any sense for Dr. Lev and the rest of them to have this plan to involve the FBI. That's probably the worst decision they could have made. But anyhow, so we're back at the hospital now. The medical team is getting Mary ready for her induced pregnancy. She and Scully share some moments about their hopes and fears around pregnancy. Mary relates how she believes the pregnancy is the result of an abduction, as the dates don't line up with the boyfriend she had. Dr. Marian arrives, telling Scully they're all set for her. Scully is going to have a sonogram to get a closer look at her own baby. Dr. Marian reveals Scully's fetus is 14 weeks old, around 8 centimeters wide. It's a tender moment where Dr. Marian reveals the baby looks just fine to her. But of course it would, wouldn't it?
She's got your eyes. Wait, what?
How could she? All right, then. Well, it's daytime now, and we cut to a dapper-looking Adam Baldwin walking down the street. This is a new character we're going to see more of. I don't even know how to sound out his name.
Noel Rohrer.
Noel Rohrer, listen, when they need to pull out...
complaining about names earlier.
Yeah, when they need to pull out some weird names, they do a great job. So, Noel, which should be just spelled Noel, and is in fact spelled with K's and W's. All right, so here we go. He's somebody that Doggett goes way back with. Doggett catches up with him. He'd reached out about Duffy Haskell, and Doggett wants his answers. In the end, however, Noel, I'm just going to call him Noel now. Noel has nothing for him.
Just do 2 syllables. It's just easier that way. Noel Rohrer.
KR.
Even though that's not how it's supposed to be.
I'm just going to call him Adam Baldwin. That's
Adam Baldwin, who is massive, by the way, standing next
he's
to Robert
giant
Patrick.
Man. Yeah, he's great in Firefly. All right, in the end, Adam Baldwin has nothing for him, getting more information out of Doggett than vice versa. He leaves after telling Doggett that he'll have more for him by the end of the day. We return to the hospital, where Scully has had an amnio procedure to get more detail about the health of her baby. Dr. Miriam tells her to take it easy, and that the next step is to wait for Mary's baby to be delivered. She leaves Scully to rest, and Scully notes that the television she's watched to see her sonogram is playing a video. Taking a look, she pulls out the video cassette and sees it's labeled Nancy Bockwell, dated from last year. What's that?
I think the tension that we are about to experience here is actually pretty good.
I agree. I mean, it's enough of a clue to sound some alarm bells, and I'm on board.
And she's already on high alert.
Yeah.
With good reason. She's been on the X-Files for 8 years. So when something like this happens, it's not just a coincidence.
Oh, 100%.
And yeah.
Well, this is.
And she's pregnant. She's not thinking clearly.
Oh, I did not say that. You did. You were the one who's going to answer to that later.
I'm just playing a role, Andrew. You set it up.
You knocked it out of the park. Okay. Well, the VHS tape is enough evidence that Scully is legitimately freaked out. She lumbers over to Mary Zoar, telling her they've got to get out of here. And we go to our commercial. Is that our last commercial? Yeah, it's our last one. So we return to a night scene of the FBI headquarters where Doggett is returning to visit with Skinner. He's worried about Scully. He thinks they've all been misled by Duffy Haskell, that it's been a setup from the start. Again, for what reason? But anyway, moving on. Skinner tries to reassure Doggett that Scully's safe in a hospital, but that is not enough for Agent Doggett. This conspiracy involves doctors who killed pregnant women. A hospital may not be the safest place for Scully. And Skinner acquiesces, telling Doggett where she is, and he tears out to save her. Cut back to the hospital, where Scully is leaving with Mary. The doctors quickly clock that they're gone and tell security that they've got 2 patients on the loose. As Scully and Mary exit, they run into Adam Baldwin's character, who tells them he's a friend of Doggett's and he's here to get them out. They bundle into an SUV and tear out of there. Scully warns that Mary could give birth at any moment, and Adam Baldwin's character, I'm not even going to say his name. I'm sorry if you're waiting for it. It's not going to happen. He reassures Scully that these men are all experienced field medics. And soon they see lights and sirens in the distance. Cars from the hospital are after them. And Adam Baldwin's character quickly has them head off the road. Mary's baby decides it's time to give birth. So they stop the car in the woods to help her. A medic helps Mary onto the back cab of the SUV as Scully comes back to help. But Adam Baldwin's character stops her. He holds her at bay, telling her it's for her own good. And as he struggles to hold Scully back, he decides he's going to sedate Scully for her own safety. In slow motion, we see Mary's birth, hearing the telltale sound of the alien baby, that mix between kitten and newborn child. A man in fatigues, carrying a flashlight, walks over the hill, and Scully passes out. We fade back to a medical monitor, showing us Scully's vitals as she lies in a hospital bed. As she comes to, she sees that Doggett is there with her. She's freaked out, unsure of what's happened. Doggett tells her she's fine, that her baby's fine. Mary Hendershot, well, she's fine too. She's resting comfortably. And her baby, 6 pounds, 8 ounces, a boy. But Scully is not convinced.
Oh, my God. They switched it. Agent Doggett, they switched it.
It's over, Agent Scully.
No, it's not. And we can prove this.
We can't prove anything. They say you overreacted to everything. They say you overreacted to fears you had about Miss Hendershot's pregnancy, to fears you had about your own.
They showed me a tape of another woman's womb.
They say it's your baby just taped onto an old cassette.
Well, then who were those men?
They acted off information that came from me. They say they saved your life. How can I question that standing there?
It was all planned. You know that. From the moment that man walked into our office, we were used to get at Miss Hendershot's baby, and now we are being used to cover it up. Oh, my God.
At least you're okay. Why didn't you tell me?
I was afraid. Afraid that they'd use it against me. To take me off the X-Files so that I couldn't fight Mulder.
Well, Doggett, trying to get inside the circle of trust, tells her that he'll help her, that they'll find him together. With that, we're left with Scully and her theme song as we crossfade to her return to her apartment, but it's a scene earlier in time. Mulder is there waiting for her. She's sad, revealing that the embryo implantation didn't take. She's distraught. It was her last chance. And they embrace, sharing another one of those moments that probably just killed it in the ratings during February sweeps. Later on, she's in bed, reminiscing, rubbing that baby belly as we fade to black. And that, Mike, is the end of Per Manum.
Yeah, okay. Fun enough episode. I'm not, aside from the convoluted way the government's going about this to get at Mrs. Hendershot's baby, I enjoy the episode. It's not bad. I'm not going to say that it's good because Mulder's in it. What I will say is I appreciate some of the emotional moments, especially the tension at the end there, kind of ramping up when she sees the tape and building it all the way up to Noel Rohr turning and showing himself to be a questionable person. So good stuff. I think it's an all right episode. I'll put it in the good category. Not one I go to for sure.
Yeah.
And I probably skip it if only because it's the beginning of the end for the mythology.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I mean, this is indeed the new mythology arc, Scully's baby. You know, this is, if that's something you're into, then this is your jam. There's some good elements of paranoia, convoluted as it may be. A plot so convoluted, you're not encouraged to figure it out. The babies are alien or hybrids or something, but they're switched out by doctors complicit or taking advantage of the alien pregnancies occurring during the women's abductions. I mean, it's pretty loose, and we're not really meant to follow it. It's really all about Scully's baby. The plan within a plan structure of the plot, it's pretty weak. I don't understand why. It doesn't seem to make any sense. And if the plot is going to get Mary Hendershot's baby, well, then there's super easy ways to do that are not this convoluted. But it does give the script something to latch onto, a point of resonance for Scully's own pregnancy fears. So if you just roll with it, it's fine. Classic case of a whole lot of nothing, coming full circle to return us to the status quo. So, Mike, I mean, I don't know how to make it better.
I would just make it a little bit more clear as to why number one, I'm aware of why the government wants her baby. That's fine. You know, she's obviously part of their program, and she, for whatever reason or however, has eluded them once she got wise to what's going on.
That is not the reason. The reason is the baby is Jesus Christ.
No, not Scully. I'm talking about Hendershot.
Oh, right. Of course. Sorry. That's a different reason.
They're not trying to get at Scully right now.
No,
They're trying to just ease her into continuing her pregnancy. Hendershot, it just is confusing as to why they can't get a hold of her and how they're trying to do that. If they had just tightened it up a little bit more followable.
Yeah.
So other than that, the episode's fine. I don't dislike it. I think it's just it's a whatever episode.
Okay.
Decent. Good to see Mulder again, but
you know what the better arc for this is? So I'm not sure about the Duffy Haskell angle. That is questionable, but I think where it falls off for me is the sudden appearance of Mary Hendershot on Scully's doorstep. That just comes out of the blue to propel the plot along.
They should have had some sort of intertwining story with Scully's. Hendershot should have been in the episode before she appeared at her doorstep.
I think that their objective should have been that they need to find Hendershot. Like there's a threat, there's a sort of bait and switch threat of, you know, maybe she's got a disease or something and she's on the loose, or her baby's got Ebola in it or something. You know, she's a loose thread they got to find. She's the MacGuffin they gotta track down. But they have a contrived reason for why, so that when they do find her, it becomes clear that no, we've been lied to, we've been given false information, we were being used for our resources to find Hendershot. But now that we found her, we're going to protect her. So then it becomes an episode of finding a safe place, which there are none, and eventually they lose because the monolith is up against them. I think that would have been a better way.
Yes.
And Duffy Haskell could have been, like, the connect there could have been that, you know, he was both women's partner or something. You know, it turns out he wasn't just Kath's husband, boyfriend, whatever. He was also
kind of like a weird mix on terms of endearment.
Yeah, the kind of inverse of that.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, exactly. So that would have been he's the foil that brought us in to find her, but in fact he's just using them. That would have maybe worked a bit better than what we were presented with. But again, they move it so fast. We're not meant to sort of piece it together in the moment. So anyway, that's the end of my theorizing.
Fair enough. No, I like it.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll just write a letter and see if they, when they reboot the series.
Can you please reshoot this episode with all the actors? P.S. Plug our show.
That's right. You can just give us credit. We don't even need money. Well, there we go. That feels like our hands are full per Manum. So, Mike, I think it's time to give you the final word and get on out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, be responsible parents and know what's inside your wife's stomach when she's pregnant with a baby. You want to make sure it's not an alien child, and definitely check those monitors and make sure it's not a tape during the ultrasound. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.